Hi everyone, it's Maria here from J'adore le papier. It's been a while. I've actually moved back to Seattle and I'm currently in a hotel. So, trying to make 3 journals, all botanical related and mostly altered books, and trying to live out of a storage unit and dealing with construction, basically everywhere around the hotel has been really challenging, but I still managed to make the 3 books. So this first one I'm going to show you is actually just a truly traditional, well, almost traditional altered book. It's from the early 1900s. I got it from Kay's Vintage Ephemera in the UK, and I pretty much rebuilt it to add a few acid-free pages, as well as a couple of inspirational pages from other fairy books. But anyway, I'll do a short flip through of this one. I'll give you the measurements really quick. It is about 5 by 7.5. Actually, just over 7.5 inches for the cover. And I kept the spine at just about 1¼ inches. And 80 to 85% of the original pages are in here. I only took out the glossary, which I felt good about doing because most of the definitions were throughout the pages. So I've got my camera set up here. My tripod is blocking me just a little bit, but I'll always try to stay in frame. I'll focus in just a little bit more. There we go. I've got this ribbon tied around just to keep it really tight, because when you're pressing flowers, you really do want to keep that compression. Of course, there are flower presses you can buy or make yourself. But if you're traveling or just walking about, or you already have some pressed flowers, this is actually a good one to keep on your shelf, and just really nicely compressed. I didn't do too much alteration. I did not seal the cover, so you'll see all the original water stains. I have cleaned it though, and I placed some strategic fabric placement just to help strengthen the book itself. But those are just a couple spots, but I just really love the old grungy look to it. What it originally might have been, what it originally probably looked like when I had all of the text block complete. And what I do is I do a kettle stitch, traditional bookbinding. I do use this muslin to strengthen the spine. In junk journal making, you might use other fabrics. But this one really is, if you look at all of your vintage or original books, pretty much all of them will have this muslin plus a little bit of paper to cover the muslin, just to give it added strength before being placed into the book. And then any document repair that I do with these old vintage and antique books, I do like this document repair tape. It's very, very thin, so you'll see here it's almost like actually thinner than any vellum that I've really worked with. It won't always be transparent depending on the color of your paper, but it really is the best because it's acid free, and it really is for repairing old documents. They're not cheap for a reason. It's because they're meant to really help your books stay as bound together for as long as you're willing to take care of them. Anyway, that's enough about the explanation, but let's just do a quick flip through. Here it is, Wildflower Preservation by May Coley, again, purchased from Kay's Vintage out of the UK. And I purchased it to learn how to press flowers, just because so many of the journal makers out there, like Jibineri, Ira from Belarus, she's meditative scrapbooking, they love to use pressed flowers in their books and do all the eco dyeing and whatnot. So I just wanted to really learn to do it properly. And every time I try to buy one of Jibbit's flower presses, they would sell out too quickly. So I thought, you know what, why don't I just use what I have, which is basically books, a lot of heavy stacks, and sometimes even my passport. Yes, when I'm walking, I will stick flowers in there, and there's something about that passport paper. But anyway, here it is, printed 1913. Still has all the contents. I did sneak in some fairies just to show that it actually is an altered book. And also with the Locta end pages, I did not trim it down to be exactly the original end paper sizes, just because I like the look of it. It makes it look like someone did alter it just slightly, so it kind of gives that handmade look to it. But you'll go through the list of plates. I did keep all the plates in here, full list. And here are the glossary plates, just because I do love these vintage images right here. So just like that one there. It was a little bit different lighting here. But I love the original tissue liners that were in here, but look at how this sticker actually looks through. So can you imagine your dried flowers in here, pressed in here? So this again is just a washi sticker that one of the paper sellers put in my thank you card, so that worked out perfectly. So I did add a lot of acid-free papers and or plant-based papers. This is actually acid-free tissue, also from Line Co. The reason I do that is because sometimes when you're drying flowers, you just really want to limit how much not only air but also acid exposure they have. So I just thought that would be a nice piece for you as you're drying things directly in here. I did add a couple of examples for you. This is this top piece is removable. This, I don't remember what that is. That actually is what we consider here in the U.S. a weed. It was just around the lake, but I haven't been able to verify what type of plant that is. And then I just added some vintage music paper from the Netherlands for you, some from my favorite sellers. I'll list everyone below. And then this is eco-dyed paper from, I believe, Ellen Martin, that I've always purchased her eco-dyed papers just because I'm not good at it and I'm not patient enough for it. But even without a pressed flower, look at that. And you'll see some throughout, like this page here, where I've already added a couple of these Locta and handmade papers, plus a little bit of vintage ledger or book pages, just to kind of give an artistic look to a page. This is one of the acid-free sketch pages that I've added, so you'll see them in gray. The reason I added them in gray is I wanted them to kind of stand out from the original pages. So this piece here is a floating piece. This dried flower actually came from the UK as well, from a new buyer, Cherise. I'll list her below. She sent me a package of fabrics to make for my niece's baby book, and I just basically glued down the dried petals to make a new flower. So I believe this probably was the original. I don't know what that might have been, a pansy. I don't think it's a rose. The petals didn't feel like it, but I'm not sure. I added the stem from another dried flower that I had in here actually, and then just a little bit of trim. It is on Locta paper, so it's that really good acid-free handmade paper. The botanical outfit, a list of materials that you'll be needing. That's actually pretty intuitive, but at the same time sometimes hard to find really good material. This is acid-free tracing paper right here. And letters, just because it is a lightweight paper, there's something about it. And I actually do write on here with my fountain pen without it bleeding, so I really like that. More of the tracing paper. I added a few botanical images in here, plus some vintage ledger paper, probably most likely from Kay or from Catherine at French Biodou. Here's that famous flower press made with 2 boards, and they just use sort of a belt or a cinch system. So you don't even need to buy this, but if you have the right materials and the right weight, and you read the instructions on how to lay out a flower before you press, it actually gives you pretty good instructions. But Ruby and Pearl's mom made one for her using cardboard, I believe. So really any material where you can truly press and keep something tight and limit the airflow. distracted by the tape. Here are some die cuts that I added here just to give you some inspiration and placeholders until you fill it. Some stamps by Sam Poole Designs. I didn't want to add too much embellishing or stamping here just because I want this book to really be yours. It's as close to a naked or blank journal as I'll probably ever make. Mounting plates, a few more images and more of the locked up paper or rice paper. More of the book plate. And then in the back I gave you a couple of these vintage, I believe this is Norwegian or German. I think that's Norwegian. I got them from Ripple Paper Lover. She's out of the Netherlands. I'll link her below, but I figure if you're going about and you've got a new flower that you've just picked and you don't want to press it yet because you want to get the layout just right, you can place them in here. And then in the back, I had additional locked up paper, so instead of just doing the traditional end papers, you know, a lot of books you'll find are actually glued together and not necessarily all sewn together, and that's how you get these end pages. But I had extra pieces on the bottom, so I just made one giant pocket for you, really. I keep it nice and tight. It feels good in the hand. It's not really an alligator mouth. Well, yeah, not really compared to other journals I've made. But that's the really quick flip through for today. I hope you like it. Again, I will have this on Etsy hopefully in the next day or two, but editing from the hotel will just take me a little bit more time than normal. But thanks for joining me. Thanks for being patient, and have a good day. Happy spring. Bye.